Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel. Hello.
Hello.
So, Mel, do you have something to tell
Oh,
everyone?
yes, I do. So this time it's my fault. I think the past couple of times it's been my
Yeah, I was
fault.
like, what do you mean this time? Let's just go with it's my fault.
It's my fault always. It is what it is. Unfortunately, there's going to be no podcast on Saturday, September 6th.
And why is that? It's a cool reason. So, why
It's a
is
cool
that?
reason. I'm traveling to Italy for the very first time in my life. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, so that's kind of a fun reason. I'll do my best. That's
You
I
know
promise.
what? I was
Yeah?
like, "You know what? Do you have a guest house of Johnny for that night?" Just throwing it
Oh
out there.
my gosh. Let's tell everybody there's no podcast, okay? Everybody who's listening, there's no podcast. But then imagine I just like throw because I don't know that I want to advertise it. I don't know what that would be, but it would be funny. We could
It
try,
would be
even if it's like a
oh,
30-minute ridiculousness of
like,
us
I feel
arguing. We could go.
exactly! Like,
Oh
I
yeah.
would love to know Johnny's feelings towards the Drew storyline and how that's taken a
Yee.
spiral, right? About the Jason Britt storyline. I feel like you'd have a lot to say
Well,
there, you
we'll
know?
see. We might have fun. We might keep it short. So again, there's no podcast. No, that's okay, that's a better way to say it. There is absolutely no official podcast for next week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
It's been a sad start to the week, so sorting out everything with regards to Maxie. However, I did find some humor in it when Lucas, was speaking to the fam and talking about a cutting edge coma care that Lulu did not get.
Honestly, I laughed so hard because 'cause
So
I'm like,
hard.
I didn't even know there was, like, a whole department. There's a place in Massachusetts. We don't even know where she was in that weird four-bedroom hotel hospital that she was in that last part of her coma.
Oh man, I laughed so much. And Johnny immediately, he did comment. He's like, "Is that where Lulu was?" I'm like, "Absolutely not. She was anywhere but cutting edge, receiving cutting edge treatment." I mean, her uncle had all kinds of access to her. Like, no, like wherever she was wasn't good. Like, I would think that like any hospital, right? If there's people you don't want visiting you, you just have like a list. So I think that if, like, Cyrus could access her, she wasn't exactly any, like, amazing facility. Let's put it that way.
She was, like, in a storage warehouse for coma patients. People could just come and go as they please as long as they have the door code.
They even wow, like, they even gave her the similar Lulu send-off, right? Like, into the elevator, except this time I know somewhat what's happening. I mean, it was a choice. Like, this is a choice. She's in a coma, but from what we learned, there's likely an antidote, right? She's in a coma. There was
Mhm.
some type of poison that put her there, and with all poison, there's always an antidote. So
Very
basically,
true.
right? So basically, Maxie's sitting on ice, and that's sort of how I'm seeing this storyline. But beyond the fact that we know the Sidwell involvement piece of it, they chose a coma, right? They chose a coma on the heel of probably the most controversial coma. Okay, in soap history. I'm gonna say that as only watching GH for the last 20 something years. Other soap ops in between, but just the idea that, like, I think that this was a controversial coma. And now you're doing a coma storyline on the heels of that, not to mention a medical storyline with a character that their medical storyline has literally carried through their entire stint on GH, right? She had that heart transplant when she was like a single digit child. That storyline of BJ's heart has literally carried through up until now. So, I mean, that's a pretty big decision. And it appears to me that the choice to put Maxie in a coma, I think it fast forwarded the Lulu storyline. What do you think?
Oh, you completely read my mind. I was just like I had it in my notes. I'm like, they're fast forwarding her progress. And we were
Mhm.
so okay with her being stunted for a while and having that slow climb. We didn't want this like fast forward in her story because I feel like we're robbed a little bit of the relationship of like rebuilding with Brooklyn,
Yeah.
making Maxie see who she has become and other people around her seeing who she really is. So I know this is what we have to be in order for the character to settle into her real life and do her thing. But I agree with you. Coma on the tail of coma is not working for me.
Like, I mean, there are a lot of storylines. There's some that haven't even full blown began, like for instance, Brit's return that will impact Lulu. But I just at this point though, like this is so significant, right? Just Lulu and Brooklyn working together with the kids, really bonding over the fact of how much they love Maxie. So,
Mhm.
to be honest, I like it would be real weird if like they randomly just started bickering. Like it would be really strange for me to watch like Lulu having a hard time, let's say with like Brit and Elizel, and then Brooklyn piling on. I would have a hard time with that. Like I could totally see Brooklyn stepping in to kind of support Lulu. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm going too far with that, but I can definitely see with the absence of Maxie, I can absolutely see Brooklyn's ability to take on a Maxie role. I cannot see Lulu's capacity to take on a Maxie role. So so yeah, like I think these guys will get along. We even saw the strides Brooklyn made with Geo, even though she doesn't seem to recognize it, and is telling Dante like he needs his father. It's like you did fine. Like you did fine.
You make a really good point because she is the mother to Gio when he doesn't want her to be. She is being a partner to Dante when he doesn't know what the heck he's doing. And I feel the same will apply to Lulu. Like Lulu is trying really hard to human and to make these huge leaps instead of this like mild growth towards something real. So I feel like there is going to be fallback, but in a way that Brooklyn is going to basically hold her hand and help her be a normal human
I
being.
think so, right? Because it would look really horrible given everything that's happened. Like,
Mhm.
I can't, like, I mean, look, it looks like for the first time, Lulu's being hit with a lot of emotions and just sitting with the reality of what she experienced. So it looks like there has been a real shift for Lulu in recognizing and allowing the weight of what it felt like for her to be in a coma. She kind of is talking through Maxie's experience of like, I know how hard that is. And that's where it's starting to come, right? It's starting to flow through her that she has feelings about this and perhaps she needs to tend to them where she just kind of spent time being frenzied and frantic. So yeah, I think Lulu's shifting a little. I don't think she's anywhere near maturity, but given everything that's kind of going on, like even in Rocco's world, the subpoenas, all that stuff, I just feel that Lulu, if she doesn't mature, sticks out like a sore thumb given the storylines. Like, even if you watch, like, the scenes this week with, like, Gio in the church, with Brooklyn, his conversation with Dante, like, even Gio is at this really serious checkpoint in his life, and I feel like, yeah, like, if Lulu continues to Lulu, like, she won't fit anywhere.
That's really true, and I don't see a place for that anymore, where we
No.
were talking about that Geo storyline and the things that we felt they were planting the seed and leading us down a path. I
Yes.
can't see that happening
No.
anymore without it being this, like, huge disconnect because it's like they can't have Maxie come back and then they go back to square one with everybody, like, that makes no sense.
No. No, because even this idea of something going on with Gio and Lulu. Like, I don't see it anymore, but I did see it before. Like, who knows if they'll touch that? She does have the dog.
She does.
If, let's say, things feel chaotic, or perhaps it's less of this immature choice, maybe they are leaning toward an Ava Morgan thing. Like, to a lot of people, in terms
Oh.
of Morgan's family,
Uh-huh.
saw the whole Ava Morgan affair is like tawdry, and that's what I thought would happen, right? Gio would have been one of, like, Lou's idiotic mistakes, and it would have
Right.
blown up because they were totally playing that, toying with that idea. But, you know, Ava really loved Morgan, and
Yes,
Morgan
she
really
did.
loved Ava, like, it was quite real. So, I don't know, like, if they lean that way, I could see them getting together out of more, like, a seriousness because things are getting serious for Gio, and
Mhm.
things are gonna get really serious. They've already started to get serious for Lulu. I mean, the girl's being vulnerable around Obrecht. So, it's just
I
really
like
serious right now, very serious.
you're writing another story for me, so exactly that. So there's an emotional availability that Lulu's being, vulnerable, talking things out, but Britt does bring a different element to the table, and she may turn to Geo even though she has a support system. These people in her life are adults, whereas she's still working on that space of, like, when Nina was out of coma, teenage years and being
Yeah.
that adult, and Geo might be that place where it's, like, fun and supportive, and he understands, even though Rocco is his brother. Like, it's such a weird gray space area where basically all I'm saying is, I agree with everything you're saying. They might still, have this like love affair. But when it comes down to it, Lulu has never taken accountability or apologized for anything. And that's the spot I want to see her in after the whole Geo thing.
Oh, I think she'll only apologize after she crosses the line with him, but you said something about
Yeah,
grace.
yeah, totally. That's what I'm saying.
But you said something about gray space, and that's what I see, right? Like, they have a stage set should they wanna use it, right? Lulu has the dog, and he could show up. So I could see
Hmm.
how, like, you accidentally have these meetings, like a couple of chance ones that happen to be really intense. And it's just like a little bubble, right? Like they have their own little dynamic. They kind of, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I could sort of see that. But like I guess to me, given the insanity of this week, the Geo's storyline in particular was the only one that was maybe a little wholesome, a little like, wow, okay, he's finally bending a little bit, like he's finally opening up. That was maybe the only like non-insane only non-insane storyline. Like Brooklyn handled that well. Clearly
Hmm.
Geo needed her, right? These are people he grew up with and he's looking to connect with his mom. And so I think that Brooklyn handled that well. She picked the right time to leave. I think she was able to give him exactly what he needed. And, when Dante showed up, it's easy. I mean, it's obvious that Brooklyn said something for him to just show up like that. But something came of that conversation that I didn't really think of. Like, I found that when Gio and Dante were together, he asked a really good question. He said, "Are you mad at my mom since she knew?" That was pretty clever. I didn't think of that. That, from Gio's perspective, he might think that regarding Dante.
Totally agree. As we talked about all these times where Dante and Brooklyn were involved in his life and really truly his family. So they have just as many stories, just as many
Yeah.
situations where they can help him heal and give him a different perspective. Cause like when is his like core memories? What do you really remember things like? I guess when you're like 7 or 6, I don't know. My memory's shot. It's a great opportunity for him to learn more about himself and his mom.
Well, I think that was what Dante and Brooklyn did really well is that they honored Camilla. And I think
Yeah.
that was amazing. They really validated their relationship, and that's what he needed. Like, of all the Bensonhurst stories we've ever heard, because remember, Bensonhurst is just like an invisible timeline. And
Yes.
so to me, that was the most beautifully made up Bensonhurst story I have ever heard told about Bensonhurst. And we hear a lot about Bensonhurst. So the fact that Dante told a story about holding a baby for the first time, so
Yeah.
unknowingly holding his first son, the chaos, the love, but the bond between Camille and him, like literally gold star Bensonhurst story for sure.
Like I could picture everything he was saying.
Yeah, and I think that, like, Gio I mean, look, his tough guy act won't hold for much longer. It's already all thawing just in time for the holidays. So when he's telling Dante, like, "I don't wanna have a relationship," yet they walk away back to back, he turns around, and, like, literally, he's gonna be your dad. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so many people are I know it's hard for Dante being on this side of things, but it's like for Sonny, it's like he's been there. He's lived and life is
Yes.
long. And I think actually Tracy might have said that this week, life is long. And I think that's the thing. Like Gio can't feel the same way forever. And he's so young and his perspective will evolve. And there's absolutely room for Dante and Brooklyn in his life. And it is for Gio to figure out how, like, yeah, they are his biological parents, but he also has his own unique relationship with him. Or it could be full blown like Trina, where she's like, I forget Taggart exists. We don't know.
We don't
We
know.
don't know. So, yeah, so that was definitely a bright spot. What I didn't expect for Gio, like, at all, was just bumping into Marco.
I was so scared for him because Marco is just losing his marbles left and right. You just can't find him. Just gone.
Just dropping him, but, like, it was just such an interesting conversation, like, Gio recognizing him and, like, bonding over losing their moms, and then I was like, "Damn," because that's, like, the whole theme, right? You have James going
Yeah.
to say goodbye to his mom. You have, like, Danny who understands that. Rocco, while he did get his mom back, in air quotes, he does understand, so it's like there's definitely a lot of characters who understand what that's like, and I'm hoping the boys bond, like, I know that, Rocco, for instance, Lulu and Maxie were close, but it's just like, immediately when I saw little James, I was like, he has Cody, of course, but I just kept
Yes.
thinking, you could use a bit of Rocco and Danny, like, they definitely know, and I'm loving those 2 boys.
Oh my gosh, they're freaking adorable. They deliver their lines so well. The dynamic between the two of them, like, it is unbelievable. So entertaining.
I know, and so it was sad, they definitely had those goodbyes.
Yeah.
Spinelli, I'm like, "That's tough," right?
So tough.
You, like, get back with your ex, and now you have to raise all her kids. Like, that's no one plans for that.
No, it's like no
No.
joke, man. It's a good thing he has a good support system with like Cody now in the mix. And I feel like
Yeah.
it's gonna be like a full house situation. Like Cody should maybe move in and
Oh, they were
Spinelli's
fun
there
together.
and like, yeah, and then like raise the kids.
Well, yeah, I think we're gonna see a little bit of that, which is kind of funny because it echoes a little bit of, Maxie's life too, right? She had a lot of people raising and helping her, mostly Mac, of course. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, for fans who know Spinelli and Maxie as kind of non-husband and wife, I think we were all, first of all, like we wanted Spinelli and Maxie to get back together. There was such a nostalgic factor in that whole thing, even though we didn't get to
Yes.
see them a lot on screen together. And I think for a lot of us, we just sort of wanted the real deal to finally happen. Like she married Nathan, but we never got the like real Spinelli and Maxie wedding. And I'd like to believe it'll be there at some point.
Oh, me too. She's planned everybody's wedding on the show for the past
Yes.
I don't know how many years.
Oh yeah, a lot of them happened. No, I would say a lot of them didn't happen, but some did. So Cody, what's the point of paying this dude? Like I don't understand. He gets caught. And, you talk about Marco losing his marbles left and right. I mean, Cody confessed left and right to Ava, to Molly. And I was just like, what is happening? What?
He is love struck so bad that he thinks, 1, he thought it was, like, actually helpful and believes it, and so why not make money on the side while doing it? And he is just head over heels for Molly, and it's the first, like, normal person that he likes, and he just does not know what to do with himself.
Well, I mean, if you have a crush on someone, I say don't try to seduce their dad's girlfriend.
Same, like,
That's one
I'm on
thing.
board with you.
It's kind of like when you wanna leave the options open, you're not gonna, like, date too close to the person. So,
Mhm.
Cody calls himself a screw up, and I mean, like, I mean, you have to
Yeah.
believe it to a degree. I was gonna say, like, I don't like, I'm just saying he knows better,
Yes.
and he made a choice that did not make sense. Like, he thought he was helping her, but even if you helped her, like, I don't get it. Would she be like, how far would you have gone? Like, how do you explain
Right?
this? Anyways, it happened, and thankfully, it ended before it went too far in terms of whatever could have gone on between him and Ava. But what I loved more was just her and Michael to be, like
Yeah.
that. I mean, that's the silver lining of all the Cody awkwardness. Because what do you do now? Like, what is Molly supposed to do? Like, you know what I mean? This girl dated her high school sweetheart. They became, what was it? Partners
Yeah,
in
something like this.
and now this is her intro into, like, what dating could look like. The person you like could very well have a crush on you, and then to try to, like, get in your good graces could maybe decide to take money from your sister and do you a favor and date not only your dad's current girlfriend, but the person you and your sister hold responsible for, your baby loss.
Yeah, all that hurts my head,
All
and
of
even
that.
if I were to become single now, based on this and everything else I read, I just, pack it in and stay single. I think Molly might do the same for a while.
I mean, how could you not at this point? I'd be like, stick to writing a
Right?
romance novel than dealing with this nonsense.
Mhm.
But I love that she has Michael to talk to.
Yeah, she never has family around her, so it's so lovely to see.
Well, first of all, the rest of her family are criminals. Okay, so there's
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Mhm,
So they're
mhm.
busy. So it's a good thing she's decided to bond with Michael because no one else is available in air quotes, right? So there's that. That I has been like it's shocking. It's shocking, but it's
Yes.
entertaining and it's
Mhm.
shocking. So it all starts with Christina at home. And we talked last week. This is where we sort of left off last week. What is her little flashback fantasy about before Rick popped in? He pops in and Christina pops off. She's like, I now have to tell you everything I know. And I'm like, no,
I
you
know,
don't.
I
You
cannot.
never did. You never did. So she proceeds to tell Rick everything. What did you think at this point?
I wasn't sure what her goal was because they had a plan, right?
Yeah.
They had a plan. This is the part, like,
Hmm.
for the life of me, I can't
Hmm.
understand. So, she was able to hold it together for I don't know how many months, like, timeline in Port Charles is weird. So she's like, "You know what? I'm done now." Like, I've done the thing of, like, following the plan, staying sane, not doing murder or attempted murder. So, like, I think it's time for me to just say all the words that have been bubbling up in my tummy.
What bothers me though, it's like when she started to go at him and then he went at her, I'm like, oh, he has some points too.
He does,
Because
though.
she started talking about what she went through. And then when he pointed out that Molly also went through those things, I was like, yeah, that's true too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she didn't cut anyone's brakes as a result. But then at that point, I'm like, if you're gonna bring this up, we know she's not gonna have a plan about it. But I was just thinking this. Get
Mhm.
in the game or don't, okay? If you're
Exactly.
gonna do bad stuff and you run your mouth, then you start threatening people, okay? Then
Yeah,
you start
hard.
but, I mean, she did in the end, but I wish she did it with more, like, force and with more intention and with more confidence. I think if you're gonna threaten people, you should do it with confidence, and I was just like, "Seriously, like, he's going at you. He's not wrong, but, like, who cares?" And so if you're gonna, like, go over to the dark side, just start threatening him. Like, "You can talk about me all you want, but at the end of the day, what is Molly gonna think of you? You can hate me. You could think I'm not good enough to be her sister, but she's certainly not gonna think much of you." And she should have really went
Exactly.
at him. She should have said, "Not only have you missed most of her life, you show up and you try to build a wedge between me and her, and then you try to blackmail her mom, and then you
Mhm.
date the person that, she blames for the baby." Like, she really could have made that choice. She got really heated, and then she kind of, like, reached for the nearest item.
Yes, she did. That wouldn't have even hurt him, though.
I think she could have hurt him if you kinda went with force and did it multiple times.
Dork.
This is what I found so fascinating about this whole scene, because we watch what unfolds between Rick and Christina, and then
Mhm.
the party includes additional guests. Ava shows up, knowing and finding out about Christina. This is just insane to me, right? It's insane to me that Christina has, like, let Rick know she knows. Then her plan about the whole Cody thing, Ava knows. Ava's talking to Rick and he doesn't care. And we did put it to a vote, right? We put it to a vote,
Yes.
and I think a lot of people said that they would get behind Ava. Technically, she did come out on top because, Rick kind of won by stealing all the money, but he's not winning right now. So
Exactly.
technically, I guess you guys were all right because there's 2 votes I think that everyone got pretty good. We put this to a vote, like, who would you want to align with, like Ava or Rick? And the other vote was about the whole Portia, I say Jordan storyline, which we will get to. So that starts to go down, and then it escalates pretty quickly between Ava and Rick. I mean, not only is he, like, stealing all her money, he grabs a
Yes.
snack, he grabs an apple off the table, and then he called her sweetheart, and I think that kinda maybe pushed
Oof.
her over the edge just a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah. Oh, yeah, big time. Like, I just love, like, I mean, early gold star to that scene and all of them, including Alexis, like, picking up the paperweight, her looking at Christina like, "Well, we're both pretty impulsive. What do we do now? We crime together?" Question mark?
So, like, I have pictures of, I think first it's a side by side of, like, Ava and Christina, and then
Yes.
afterwards, I have a picture of all 3 ladies. They all include Rick on the floor, but
Yes.
I just thought that they were such compelling visuals because initially, you have Ava and Christina, and I'm thinking to myself, "This is hilarious because 'cause they're both really impulsive."
Yes.
And, Ava is like, "I didn't mean to kill him." And I kept thinking to myself, "Yeah, okay, because that could be written right on top of your head." And then Christina's saying there, "I didn't mean to kill or hurt Rick or Elizabeth."
Yep.
And there's just not much difference, and that's what I found really fascinating because there's a lot of debate about Christina. Like, you look at her, and it's just because her packaging is different, right? Like,
Mhm.
if you look at the picture of all 3 of them together, which I guess I should eventually post them all, I'm just thinking body count, right? Like, Alexis probably has the most in all of them.
That's
She has
that's
2,
okay.
and technically Ava, like, in terms of what's been depicted, okay, as, like, significant murders, is the fact that she killed Connie, but she
Yes.
indirectly killed AJ and Morgan,
Right.
okay? And Alexis has got 2, but I mean, Christina's got 0.
That's true. She needs to up her numbers,
And what
get
I
her
thought
stats going.
and that's what I was thinking, like, there was, like, the word psychopath thrown around, and I'm like, the one who doesn't flinch, and the point is Christina flinched, you know? She didn't actually murder him,
Yes.
she thought twice, and that's what I thought was so funny is that, like, they both grabbed an object, right? Christina grabbed an object and put it back down because Ava's like, "I just wasn't thinking, I grabbed the nearest thing," and that's the point. Christina did grab the nearest thing, but then thought. Ava grabbed the nearest thing and didn't think, and it was just so funny watching, like, the contrast because they're not different. None of those women are.
They're not, but you're making a really good point. It makes me remember part of that scene where they're all just having this chit chat, the 3 women around Rick's body, and Christina's like, "Okay, this is what I know. Like, let's check to see if he's, like, conscious." She checks his pulse. Like, there is some, like, calm in the chaos that she was able to pull off.
Yeah, she wanted to, like, do the whole eye thing
Yeah.
to check his pupils. It was just so funny, all the sarcasm that hit when
Yes.
Alexis came in. She's like, "We were just gonna check his pulse." She's like, "Don't let me stop you." Oh my gosh, and then they were like, "We should call an ambulance," and I'm like, "Well, Molly will never forgive me if I let him die, like, on the
Right?
carpet." So this was just complete insanity, and I kinda love that. There's such rivalry between all of these women. For years, Christina and her mom didn't get along, and we would say, like, there's a lot of Alexis and Christina. This whole idea that she's put together and Christina isn't, that's not true. There's this back and forth between Ava and Christina, calling her a mess, and I'm just staring
Mhm.
because, like, the only difference between Christina from Alexis and both Ava is just that she doesn't wear suits or blouses as much as they do.
That's very true.
Like, their fashion is more put together. That's it. That's so far what I found the difference to be. But man, did it get good. So, like, you have those scenes, then you have the scrambling after, which is hilarious, when people stop by the house and Chrissy's like, "What, Molly? What did you find? What did I do? What did I do?" And having to navigate that, Alexis having to navigate when Sunny stopped by. I was so worried when I saw Ava go to the hospital.
I
I'm
know.
like, "Please don't tell me you're gonna just randomly ask Lucas medical questions."
Right?
She didn't, but at the same time, I'm like, "You can't just ask your nephew for drugs."
I know, so bad.
And there's just, like, a little hitch in their whole scheme is that Lucas highlights because she wanted the pills for a month, and we all understand, right? We need a
Yes.
month so that they can all have access to the money, so for 30 days, Rick's gonna be locked up in a basement, and we've been saying someone has needs to be locked up in a basement. We
It's
thought it
been a
would be
while.
Drew, right? We thought Drew would be locked up in a basement. We thought Drew would maybe pop up in the river or whatever by the pier.
Mhm.
But we have Rick who's trapped, which is such interesting karma, as Alexis pointed out.
I loved because, we know the history and the fact that she brought that up, her face acting, his too, like, they looked like they were having so much fun as the people
Exactly.
in this scene from many moons ago. Like, I was looking up old videos, and it's just wild that they've been on for so long. They could have that much fun in such a dark, silly, weird scene.
That came through. Honestly,
Yes.
watching it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this looks like so much fun." I mean, even though Rick didn't look like he was having fun, I'm like, "He's having fun." Like, he likes this guy. It's like, he really likes this. But just watching Alexis like that, and I'm trying to think to myself, she's also coming off of the heels of, like, an encounter with Drew.
Yes,
So this
absolutely.
so this has got to be such a release also. Not only is she annoyed with Rick in general for what he has done, but I love the crime truce because everybody can go down. It's like, I guess no one should tell them that you guys could have all just let this go from the beginning, but whatever, then nobody would have had the leverage on one another.
Exactly.
But yeah, those scenes where she was laughing and saying, "Just tell me what happened." And my favorite part was when she got all giddy and was like, "Tell me you're not just a little bit proud of me."
I loved it because he was like, "Yeah, kind of."
I was like, "What?" And then but I loved his response though, because he's like, "You can't just leave me here." She's like, "Like you did to Carly in the wall." And I'm like, "Oh my
Amazing.
gosh." And then
Amazing.
he was like, "Well, don't be like me." I love that he owned it. There's nothing more that I love than somebody who
I
could just be
know.
bad and own it. So I love that he owned it even in this moment. So Alexis had fun with him, but I was like, damn. Like, we saw Christina have the flashback where she saw that, like, she pulled her arm away from Ava. But again, Ava
Yes.
never pushed her. It was just such a series of bad luck, right? Christina
Yes.
could have went to the room, argued, which, it's not good to stress yourself out anyway, but she didn't necessarily need to fall out of a window. That was also a possibility. Nobody expects that. But then to use her dark moment with Rick to be like, look at what Ava's doing to you. Now, I'm gonna double down on the fact that she really could have killed my baby. I was like, "Is this really happening?" I'm like, "This is so twisted." So we thought like the flashback, oh my gosh, we've been wondering for so long what would tip Christina, like, into the dark side. This
Yes.
is it, I think. I mean, if something's gonna be it, I'm thinking it's this. Like, for 30 days? You're gonna keep this guy on the same grounds as your sister? You were worried about, like, a weird matchmaking scheme? Well, she wasn't worried about it, but
Yes.
this is intense. This is intense. And I don't know, like, how long can Liz go without Rick popping up?
She's gonna start to ask questions. Elizabeth has been weaved into a few different
Yes.
storylines with Rick, with Drew, with Willow. So there's gonna be some questions, but I'm kind of hoping it's more towards the tail end of the 30 days, like day 31.
Yeah. I mean, I hope they get away with it.
Yes, exactly.
Well, they're gonna have to, right? Because she doesn't know the Rick part of it. She doesn't realize,
True.
right? For her, it's sort of like Christina did something and is getting away with it, but she has no idea what all these other players have done.
Exactly.
And now they're like bonded for life in this really fun group.
I do love that
Oh, so
very
that
much.
was something Lucas mentioned, right? That like my aunt is really fun to live with. Now we know how fun she is because when they first flashed to Rick, I was like, what is that in his mouth? I'm like, no. And I'm
Yeah, I
like,
could not. I could not. I couldn't believe it.
I was like, this is Alexis's house. So when Alexis finally explained it, I was like, this is hilarious. She's like, she just had this in her glove compartment. I'm like, Lucas is right. His aunt is fun. That
She
was
likes reality TV too.
so crazy. So crazy. And all of them are hilarious to have all of them on the same side because they have to be. So much comedy to follow.
I love it. This we've been waiting for, you've been talking about like the whole potential of Christina Joss and that comedic duo, or we're just like missing some of those little elements. So to have it with those three women is fantastic.
Yeah, it's completely unexpected. So, I mean, look, in order to kind of pull this off, everyone is just gonna have to stay calm, act natural, but Ava has to lay off martinis.
This is the part that concerned me. Out of all of their planning,
Yeah.
The one thing that's throwing me off is can she do it, people?
Exactly. So while Alexis is doing this, she had made a death threat earlier in the night. But to be honest, many people did this week to the same person. So at least
Fair.
that.
So many.
So I mean, you knew, right? Like since so she's sitting down with Drew, for him to have called her, he wasn't giving away much, right? He was just sitting there.
Mhm.
So I mean, did you know that he was probably just gonna serve her at that point?
Honestly, I didn't. I knew he was gonna do something vindictive or maybe try to, antagonize her to get somebody to film it. Like, I wasn't sure what his angle was, but no, I didn't think it was about her being served, to be honest.
I
You?
figured it was, but what I thought was so unhinged was him accusing Alexis of the drugging when he knows exactly who did it.
Right? So messed up.
Oh my gosh. And there was this part where he initially thought that he had Alexis when she slammed her hand on the table. He's like, yeah, 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 she's about to lose it. But then his face changed when all this logic started spilling out of her mouth.
Mhm.
Because she hit him with a lot of truths about the boys, like serving teen boys is such a red flag, like all of this stuff. But what was really funny was when he said something like, if you'll be around when she turns 18. And
Yeah.
then I had to go do some math. I'm like, last we heard, Scott is 12.
Yes.
I'd be so insulted. What on earth makes you think I only have 6 years left in me?
Right?
So that was really odd and just a precursor to her making her own death threat, which was inevitable at this point. And so many people had no problem threatening his life this week, which isn't hard when he acts the way that he acts. And I love that Laura and Martin were like, yeah, I didn't hear anything.
No, but it's so good. Like, so I love that they're giving a nod to themselves within the episode. Like,
That was so cute. So that I believe was his first death threat of the week.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And then ew. So like Willow and Drew. Willow and Drew, you know, they they went there. She went there.
She went there.
Yeah. So that's the thing though, like we had we had death threats, but then Willow, for instance, I think like I don't know how many times you need to snap because apparently she hasn't all the way snapped. But I'm just
No.
thinking if he somehow gets her further away from her kids, at that point would she harm him? So in terms of another suspect.
Ooh, because we did have the, like, not full on, "I'm gonna kill you," but Nina says, "When you have nothing left,"
Yeah, she
basically,
made a
like,
death
"Watch
threat.
out." She definitely made a threat. So
Yes.
we've got in that first, like, hour, he had a
Mhm.
little lunch with Alexis, a little drinky poo with Willow. He got 2 death threats.
Yes, 2 death threats and, like, a possible 3rd suspect so
3rd.
far with Willow
Yes.
should he not live up to his word, which we know he will do anything to try to get. So, Nina shows up and sees this, and
I
honestly,
felt bad. Sorry, how did you feel?
I just think at this point, like, I can understand, for instance, for why Nina felt the need to be delicate for so long. I absolutely
Yes,
do. Like, I
absolutely.
can understand she hesitated to tell the truth, but things snowballed so far, and once they did, it was so delicate, and Willow already wasn't herself, so there truly was, like, no way. And we're seeing it, right? We're seeing proof in the pudding, right? It doesn't matter what you tell her, she will
Mhm.
distort it. So I just felt like this is your chance, Nina. You were scared to lose her. You didn't know what to do.
Yes.
And I think that based on where things are right now, this is your opportunity to really be who you are and be the kind of mother you've been for Sasha.
Truly.
Like treat her like she's stronger than she is. And I know that she's not. For her, there's zero options. She keeps saying that there's no other option. I'm like, but there was always the options to grow. And she chooses not to do any of those things, right? She's doing the mechanical
Yes.
things like attending work, but she didn't go to therapy. She's not rebuilding her life. She's not trying to reestablish stability. Like, take away the whole like Sidwell payment and that possibility. Like, even Chase, like you're going to the judge and she's outlining this for you. Even you are running around acting like Michael is the one keeping you from her. Willow was the
Yes.
one who's provided an opportunity. I know it doesn't look like it, but even the judge reiterated that. Like the person has to show growth. So all this time you kind of spent running around to Michael trying to make things easier for her. You should have been trying to push her into therapy, is what you should have been
Yes.
doing. So I
100%.
just feel like the people supporting her were like I don't know what Chase is doing. I know that Elizabeth, it's different. She was trying to go slow, and even now she's like, "Hey,
Yes.
that didn't work." But as for Nina, when she was saying things like, "Why should I trust you?" I was like, "See, this is the thing. You could have had 2 options. 1, I could have turned her you could have turned around because she's already owning what she did. She's like, "Look, Willow, you didn't lose your kids just because of me or just because of Drew. At the end of the day, these were your choices. You're
Yes.
not some little girl, you're a mother, so start acting like it. You keep using that title. You have opinions of me, of that I'm a crappy mother. Well, what are you doing? Rather than trying to rally yourself back together and show the judge that you're not anything that she says you are, you're too busy running around doing exactly the thing that lost you the kids in the first place." So I just felt like her one option was to be lay out everything and then walk
Mhm.
out. And the other one would have also been walking out, but saying, "Look, Willow, there's just no hope. Like, I don't think there's anyone that anything could do, and it's hard to watch," and just leave. Because I think Willow counts on, at the very least, Nina fighting for her.
Yes.
And so I think it would have been really significant to have Nina, who obviously she knows has been desperate for a relationship with her, desperate for her child. I think it might have packed a punch if Nina was more true to herself and said things that Willow needed to hear, and not just fought back, but fought for Willow
Mhm.
by not babying her anymore and saying things that she really needed to hear. And I felt like this would have been a really good moment to piggyback off of something that rattled her, that Christina said. When Christina said, "I had to pretend." That wasn't real.
Yes.
So I feel like it would have been funny if Nina piggybacked off of that message saying, "I had to pretend. I couldn't tell you anything, but let me tell you this. These decisions, these decisions." So it's not just what he did. And then even today to hear her talk to Elizabeth and be like, "He's the reason I didn't see Michael. He's so almighty and powerful." I'm like, it's so gross. It's so
Right?
gross. I mean, like I was saying things the same time Elizabeth was.
Yes.
But look, I think she did the best she could in that conversation. I probably would have ended it with, "Just make sure you have your crap out of my house. I can't have crazy in there. I do have children, even if they're not living
No,
with
but
me. I need to
truly.
stage the place, so you gotta go." But at least she said all the important things, like, "You are enough" in all of this. But I think even Elizabeth pulling away from her. The one thing I do wonder, though, and I mean, we can speculate, she did show up to Carly, which is interesting. You went straight to the other side,
I
and
love that.
you said it that, Elizabeth will come around, right? She was, like, really pulling for Willow, but she saw her do, like, an unhinged thing running back to
Yes.
Drew. So, I don't know what she was gonna do with Carly. One of my guesses is that she'll pull a Laura and a Martin and be like, "I didn't hear anything," because that was another death threat.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't know how much or if Elizabeth is there to plead because I can't see her pleading for Willow at this point, unless she thinks that if she gets her kids, she'll lay off of Drew. I don't know what her angle is. But one thing I was wondering about Elizabeth is after she saw what she saw, what happens if she gets called in for character reference? Is Elizabeth gonna, is she gonna discourage the staff from testifying? I mean,
Oh, no, that's a really good question because I was thinking about that too. Like when she went to go see Carly, they have this bond. It's very sisterly between Elizabeth, Carly, and Sam was in that
yes,
too, where they went through all the hard times and they know what it's like to get lost. They know what it's like to see people become unhinged and be unhinged themselves. And I think part of it is genuine concern for Willow,
yes,
but
yes,
the far Elizabeth really prioritizes her kids no matter what has happened, no matter what person has come in her life, her kids are at the forefront to protect,
for
right?
sure.
So seeing Willow do this and I loved the line of questioning. I love how brutally honest she
Yeah,
was, gentle to really firm, and then reassuring her that she's enough because Elizabeth figured that out on her own. That at the end of the
yeah,
day, no matter who she chased, no matter what man was in her life, that Elizabeth depends on Elizabeth and everything else is bonus. Her kids are priority. So I do think she's going to be on the side to discourage people because Willow, like you said, genuinely needs help, is genuinely twisting every single thing that happens for air quotes to have her children and to be the better parent. Like it is bananas.
yeah. Because, like, I mean, I think Elizabeth is disappointed, and even Carly, even though when she
Yeah.
was arguing with Drew, it's like she needs help. You know what I mean? Like, no one thinks she's a villain or beyond repair. They just think she needs help.
So do we think they're gonna pull, like, a Christina out of the cult? Like, are we gonna kidnap Willow and, like, force her into therapy?
I don't know, right? Because as much as I think that there is like, I don't think anybody, including Carly, is like, "We never want Willow to see the kids." The whole context
Exactly.
is not like this.
Exactly.
But that's the thing though, like, those people might think she needs help, but they're not necessarily her people. Like, she did a lot of damage. She's actively
Mm,
going against them.
mhm.
Like, at the very least, regardless of what Elizabeth may think or feel right now, she might be in a place to kinda take that step, but I feel like Nina might. But it's odd, right? Because you got Elizabeth going to Carly rather than
Carly.
maybe going to Nina at this point. So I don't really know what she believes that Carly can do. So perhaps maybe it is to be like, should she get visitation? But I can't imagine Elizabeth asking for that after what she saw. And especially, she was pretty open with her opinion. This idea that you're selling your soul, what will you have to give them? What good are you to your children if you're just going through the motions? So I'm just so curious. But to me, I guess it's another potential. She may not make a direct death threat, but I think
Mhm.
100% another suspect.
Oh, for sure. They need to mix it up. We need to have enough culprits that we're, like, really trying to put together the clues.
It makes me think of the whole, like, Jordan organ that they stole from Ryan Chamberlain, which was
Yes.
so good. But, like, Carly's never murdered anyone, has she?
No, I really don't believe she
Oh, they should
has.
murder together, Liz and Carly. They haven't had, like, a scheme to bond like that. But, yeah, Drew was just on tour. He went to see Michael. Like, I'm glad how Carly handled his threat. She's like, "You made a threat to the wrong person," like and she says, like, "You're desperate because like, if you have what you say you have, you don't need to come to us. You could just act. Like, follow through with your plan, man." And it's like Michael saw
Yes.
right through that, she saw right through that. So that's another person who made a death threat, Michael.
Yes, that's true.
And him and his dad immediately figured out that, like, Sidwell paid off. Paid off the judge, like, it was all kind of solved in, like, 2 seconds. One thing that did occur to me once I saw Drew standing in Michael's office, it kinda reminded me about, like, the origin of Aurora Media to begin with, that it was created by Sam and a saner Drew, and the whole idea that Aurora
Mhm.
was meant to be a legacy for Danny and Scout, and while Drew won't be able to do this, what I can see is Michael, in the long run, honoring Sam and kind of training her kids to sort of take over the company. It could be one or both, but
Yes.
Michael loved Sam, right? Sam was like a sister to Michael. It's how he saw her. So I can totally see him honoring her in that way because I think it's just so gross the way Drew is dishonoring her and
Yeah.
completely hurting Scout. Like, I just can't. I just can't.
He's doing such a good job, though, of being a bad guy. He just had another story that he posted, or maybe it was a reel the other day about how, people throw things at him at the supermarket,
That's
and he he
awful.
had he was laughing about it, and then there was this woman that he got in the video, she works at the supermarket, and she was, like, whacking him with coupons, but, like, jokingly, he's like, "You see? Everywhere I go." I'm like, "The
Oh.
every" but he's so, like, positive and light about it, but just it's basically like a nod to him, like, he is an incredible actor, we say it week after week, he really does make me so
Yeah.
angry, especially when he, like, takes up space in the room, like, when Danny and Rocco left them and then he's talking to
Ew!
Carly and Carly was moving around, the way he, like, just gets close to people in his conversation and his threats and his eyes, like, it is truly amazing when I watch, his real life, and we really know the distinction, obviously, um, but he's just so good at playing the bad. It just riles me up.
I loved when Carly was like, "I'm in a very important meeting," and it was with the 2 boys, it was
So
so
cute.
adorable, and then he's like, "This was your important meeting?" It's like, "Yeah, like, these boys are super important," but I loved how Danny was like, "I'm not gonna leave you alone," because it was such a Jason thing,
Yeah.
and Rocco, it wasn't even that he reminded me of Lulu, he reminded me of Dante, just like Dante's experience of Carly, like, he's not gonna worry.
Yes, I loved it very much the way they, like, pulled those
Yeah.
characteristics.
Yeah, they were very much a Jason and Dante duo right there. But it's actually
Mhm.
more than Dante, right? Like, Rocco has Dante and has Sunny, and it's just like when it comes to Danny and Rocco, it's like it is the whole Jason and Sunny thing, right? Like Jason didn't find necessarily a brotherhood with his own brother, but found one with Sunny, and that's sort of like a toned down, way less dramatic version. for Danny and
Yes.
Rocco, which I absolutely, absolutely love. When it comes to the Michael Sunny scene, I couldn't help but notice that they were dressed the same. They were both wearing the same colors. I think Sunny was more in the suit, like the
Mhm.
burgundy top and the black blazer. And Michael had like a casualer version of that on, which was kind of cool.
Okay, wait, just going back to what you said, because I had, like, time delay hearing.
Okay.
When you were talking about how Drew was talking to the boys and then the fact that they're not brothers, but they act like brothers, they're chosen family, right? Because of
Yeah.
their circumstance. And then, okay, so it might be a whodunit, but we've also been talking about the fact that, digging into Drew's past because he's like, but they're not even related. So what does it matter? Like he
Hmm.
threw that in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, are we still pulling on the storyline of he's not really Drew or Scout's not really his or something along the lines of he's not really attached to the Quartermains? Because
Oh, that would be
it was so
amazing.
like right? It was so like it just was a throwaway comment, but it really stood out.
Well, if Drew is not related, there are plenty of honorary Quartermains. I mean, Sky was an honorary
Oh,
Quartermain,
yes.
so I think that would be a really interesting storyline because they love Scout, and she would
Yes.
be one anyway, right?
Absolutely. It just without him.
Exactly. So no, there might be something to the whole like biological thing, right? We'll see. We'll see about where that goes. So yeah, there was mention of Jason that he's still away. It was probably weird for Britt to see him be so playful
Yes, it was weird for
'cause
all of
he's
us.
not regular Jason, but, like,
He's
Nando's too.
vacation, Jason.
Oh, vacation Jason, damn. But just, like, him, like, I was playing her, she was asking me so many questions, and then the fact that they could be so close to each other and not do anything, I'm like,
I
"That's good for you
know.
guys, I
That is
guess."
willpower to the max.
Self-control, yeah, self-respect, good for you guys, congratulations. And so Joss, look, I couldn't. There were so many times I laughed hysterically. Like, I love the
Tell
Jaws
me.
WSB thing. I do. But man, was I like, this is so funny. I'm like, Anna was right. Like, I think she's right about Jocelyn being like new. And at the end of the day, doesn't mean she'll be a great spy in the end. But I'm like dying here. Like, let's not forget, okay, that she murders Cyrus. She murdered the guy. She shot him, the guy, the assassin. But
Mhm.
then she had this horrified look when they started punching Vaughn. She was like, I was just like, punching? I had no idea punching would be involved as a spy. And then because they showed a horrifying reaction to the punching. So, and then they had another horrifying reaction to when Vaughn spit on the other guy. I'm like, okay, I don't think Joss read the entire pamphlet. That's for sure. Because you like murdered two people and this is horrifying.
It was really confusing. Like, is it about love? Like, I am really thrown
I
here.
don't know, and I mean, just, like, being new, right, at something, and then she, like, did all the confessing, and part of me was like, "Is she so smart that, like, she confessed, but, like, she didn't confess?" I don't know if she was
Okay.
being clever or not clever at all.
I think not clever at all.
What I've never counted on is that, like, for me, had I known how fun drunk Anna was, I could totally totally get down with that, like, my favorite li "Are you having me followed?" And she's just looking all over the place. I'm just like, "What is happening? What is
That was
happening?"
amazing. I wanna hang out with drunk Anna. She should come out more often to play with the characters on GH. That is a time.
So much, and then when, like, she was confronting him and forcing Joss and we get it, right? I love that there's just this strong reflection because when she talks about Joss, she really is concerned about Joss, but there's just such a layer of, questioning her past and her choices. But then, like, when Brennan was like, "But you made all these other choices," I'm like, "Yeah, I guess she was accountable too." I'm like, "Damn, another good point," because I was, like, all in with everything Anna was saying.
Same.
And then he was like, "We didn't force her." I'm like, "Yes, you did. You covered up a murder and told her she had
Yes.
to."
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. But he was brutal. He's like, "You ruined your life, not the WSB." And I'm like, "Maybe it's both." And I love that she said it too, because I was like, "Could be both." Oh my gosh. So that was intense. And then I saw how happy Joss was because I was loving. I'm like, when is this gonna happen? Like, I thought they were gonna be on this island for like a week, but it's going in tomorrow. More. And it's not tomorrow. It's I thought it was gonna be a week and now it's going into a whole day. So just I can count, I swear. And so something that Britt said that she hadn't exactly said to Jason. I mean, it was kind of implied because like, just leave with me, just leave with me. And then I thought, okay, maybe it's because she's getting, like, her meds out of this, but she's a scientist, she could make her meds. But it's this today, she says something to the guy in the pajamas, something about exits, like, there's no exits.
Yes.
Like, Brit changes her outfit every 2 minutes, but not that guy, not pajama dude.
No, he's really obsessed with his pajamas.
Could you imagine she opens the door because she obviously thought Jason was in there,
Yes.
and then she sees Joss and is, like, not even, like, horrified, she was just, like, confused,
Yes.
and then she's like, "I'm gonna go now,"
I'm gonna
and,
go get
that's
Jason.
why she's gonna use the phone. That's
Yes,
why
and then
she's gonna use the phone that she
yes.
hid. Oh, I get it now. Don't worry,
It's
Joss.
all coming together.
All coming together. So is Sidwell's plan, right? He has this whole plan about the peers and deception to kind of run his business. He's talking to
Yes,
Colette.
yes.
So it turns out
Ugh,
deception's
Colette.
super important to run whatever business through along with the peers. I'm thinking, oh, that's cute. Like you made a choice, right? Like Sonny was like, I'm gonna do coffee. He's like, I'm gonna do cosmetics. And I'm like, that's interesting. Good for you. But the thing that shocked me the most about Sidwell is that you sit with Lucy. She's like, "My coworker's in a coma," and he's like, "Do you wanna have a sleepover?" I was
I
like
could not, I could not doing
I
that.
just stared at Johnny, and I was like, "No. No, no,
One
no.
track mind.
We don't do that. That's not okay. This is not okay."
And Lucy, oh, I can't I mean, we love to make fun of her and all the rest, but I cannot handle this. She cannot read energy, read the room, like, get
Just
what he's
read.
saying. Oh,
Just read. I mean,
goodness
the deal.
gracious.
Like, the deal. Like, the whole idea that, like, he creates this problem, he has a solution, he wants to put his money in it. I mean, I guess she's not gonna put it together, obviously, but that's
No.
insane, right? Because now he's gonna be, like, more of an owner in the company.
Yeah, it's so wild.
But it worked out real good for him, except for the Marco ruining his stuff.
I kind of liked how angry he got because
Yes.
Marco is a liability at the end of the day, and if he was anybody else except for his son, that would be a huge issue, like, that person would just disappear into the woods.
Yes, and that's the thing too, like, when I'm watching, I'm like, see, when I watch shows now, it's like I err more on the side of, like, the parent, the older parent, doesn't even matter, because 'cause I'm like, "He doesn't know, like, he doesn't understand, like, your dad told you he had a plan, like, he crimes for a living," and I'm
Yes,
laughing that you point out the murder part because he tells his son, "Best case scenario, we go to jail," and so,
yeah.
like and with even with Drew, like, when he was telling Michael, like, "I have influence, I have so much influence. I can find Judge. I can make Judge like I want." And I'm like, does he know that, like, his dad also knows how to take people for a ride to the Pine Barrens? Like, it's so bizarre to me that he thinks Michael or any of the family is, like, above that. Like, even if Michael didn't want to, someone would. And I loved when he was talking to Carly about the whole, like, paying off the judge, like, "Oh, why? So you could do it this time?" Like, I loved how she handled it.
Amazing.
But his obsession with going to her is just ill.
It is so gross, but that's a really good point. Like, even though he goes around and talking a big game, he still believes to an extent that he's protected and they won't end up in the Pine Barrens. And you're making me laugh so hard about his version of criming because Willow also believes in Drew's way of criming. And Elizabeth's like, what? So we paid a few $100s to somebody so you
Yes.
don't see Michael? That's not power. I loved that line so much.
But Willow was like, "But he reached across an ocean." I'm like, "Yes, that's what money transfers can do."
Right? Across the
The
world, girl.
internet does it too. You should come see the internet. It goes across oceans as well. Powerful stuff,
Power.
like, I don't like, she's just a lost cause.
I couldn't believe how old Portia is in real life. Good on her for taking care of herself. She is fit, and she got to make out with a Dr. Gannon who's younger.
So that's what everybody voted on, right? Who would cheat first, okay? And it was the self-righteous Isaiah Gannon who was, like, so involved in his coworker's marriage,
So
being like,
involved.
"You're so involved in their marriage, and I'm only getting involved because 'cause I'm so involved, and you shouldn't be involved, and it's so bad, but we're gonna do it first." Ew, ew. But Curtis is really special, and we've always talked about Curtis being self-righteous and having all these
Yes.
rules, and he's never loved Portia unconditionally, right? She always
Mhm.
had to tiptoe, and that's what I love. Like, I love that Portia was able to highlight his dynamic. I love that she was able to throw into his face all the things that he wouldn't really admit. You know what I mean? Because even when they were having the conversation, the fight, I was like, "This guy has so much resentment, and it only comes out
Mhm.
when he's pushed." And then after that, she started to go into the whole, like, resentment, "You're angry," and then he finally confessed that that was the truth, that ultimately he was sort of, like, forcing this family to be with Trina. And
Yes.
I'm like, "But that's awful." And he was like, "And I had to, like,
Right?
try to make myself okay with you." And we saw it, right? When he was
Ooh.
recovering after the wedding, that, like, they never talked. They just sort of, like, pretended. And that's Curtis. He doesn't know how to be in a relationship and actively participate. He's, like, in a relationship. He sits up on his pedestal and then is constantly rating the person, to be like, "Are you good enough to be with? Are you not?" Like, he doesn't engage. And I know that Portia
No.
made a lot of mistakes, but to be honest, they're not exactly, like, deal breaker mistakes, right? He refuses to acknowledge that she's a person. He could easily work on his marriage, but he's not. These are all opportunities to get closer. Every time, like, I think that if they had properly rebuilt after finding out about Trina and after his
Yes.
accident, she would have came to him about Drew. She wouldn't have been afraid, but he never truly
100%.
committed to her.
No, it's like it's constantly being judged. If they had done, like, couples therapy or actually, like, got down
He never
to the
worked
ex
on it.
no, never,
No,
ever,
he
ever,
he
ever.
wanted to maintain the good guy status, right? So it means that he gets to vilify her, be mad at her, and then one day he's not mad anymore. Because if ever he argues or says how he really feels, then he risks not being the good guy. He risks not being self-righteous. And he doesn't get to, like, point the finger. Like, the fact that he tells her we can't worry about that right now, when she was worried about Drew coming after her since he lost his mind and went after Stella. And then he's saying,
Mhm.
"Oh, it's about my aunt." I'm like, "You're gross." Like, you're literally hiding behind Stella to avoid the truth of what she's saying. It's like he can't
Yes.
fathom that she could be he could they both could be right, like, she did hurt him, but he's not innocent, and that's the thing he can't wrap his head around, because for him, it's always the other person's fault. It was Jordan's fault. Not that he walked away or didn't bother having a single conversation,
Mhm.
and now it's Portia's fault. Not the fact that he was never really with her. Those aren't lies because he's like, "I didn't say them out loud, I didn't do action, they're just secret in my
Yeah.
head." It's like she found them anyway.
Curtis. Good old Curtis. So he was on that death threat list, so we add Curtis to the
Yes.
list of
Well,
suspects.
his death threat had a lot more value because it allowed Kai to finally wake up and see Drew for who he really was.
I love that Kai made one phone call and he's like, "Oh, damn, everybody was right."
Well, I'm hope because, like, I don't know what Trina would have done, to be honest, if she went to see Drew, but I'm
Yes.
hoping that I thought that what Kai was doing, like, he made that call, but I thought he was gonna try to do more, like, I don't know, find evidence against Drew, but I feel like that's what Trina's there for, at the very least, to find that document her mom needs. I love that.
Mhm.
She just steps in and solves the whole thing.
I love it. So good. I'm glad she knows because she's the only logical one right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we covered all the things. We talked about all this stuff. I do have some things I'd like to share.
Okay.
Sharing time. I love when Molly called what she saw them passionately hugging, Cody and Ava. They're passionately hugging. Thought that was funny.
Yeah, poor thing. She's like, "I don't know, about 10 minutes later, they would've, like, had sex," and I'm like, "Probably not a whole 10 minutes, but you're cute."
I love that we know where Charlotte and Bailey Lou are. They're together, invisible in a land far away.
Exactly. But going
Okay.
back to Molly and Ava, when Ava walked out, she said, "Have fun with high and mighty here."
I know, that was funny.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines was when Elizabeth and Lucas were chatting, and she's like he's, like, talking about Rick, and Rick kinda floating around because 'cause they're Ava and Rick broke up, and she's like, "My boundaries are complete with barbed wire fencing."
I don't believe her.
I don't believe her at all. And I have, like, a -10 star for Chase.
Oh,
That's where I'm
yeah.
at.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's just a no-go for me.
No, it's disgusting. Do you have any favorite lines?
I said my favorite line, it was Anna had it, the high and mighty one. I'm sure there was so many other ones. There was so many funny back and forth, especially with regards to Alexis and Rick, like, many gold stars.
I was just gonna say that gold stars for everybody, including Drew, because for somebody to get under your skin in almost every single scene he pops into is absolutely incredible. So
Yeah.
stars to all. And what is your cutie pie moment?
So I'm actually gonna give a cutie pie moment to a real life little creature. So instead of giving it to an actual scene in GH, I'm giving a cutie pie huge star to my doggy Coco, who passed last weekend, which is why I'm not really posting all that much. She actually used to sit beside me while I recorded with Mel. So she gets my cutie pie star.
She gets all of the stars. She best little puppy there ever was.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, folks, so much love. Mention your family.
Have a
So
safe
send
trip.
here. Thank you. And we'll be back soon enough. You might get some bonus footage at some point or another with a special guest host. We
I'll
don't
pitch
know.
it. I'll pitch it to him.
That's a wrap, folks. Have a fantastic weekend.
Bye.
Bye.